finally got to attend one of the largest filmmaking gatherings on the planet, and this video is all about cinema cameras. Quick thanks to DZL Film. They gave me access to their full Simera-C line, which I used to shoot this entire event. The first booth I visited was DJI.
Thomas asked me what makes something cinema, and that's a really fantastically interesting question, especially holding the Pocket 3 right here, because I could go out there and make a movie with this thing right now. I could absolutely make cinema with this thing. But would I call this a cinema camera? And I actually wouldn't. So for me, a cinema camera is a camera that is set up to work in the world of cinema. It's set up to work with the big production crews. It's set up to work with the existing system that we have in Hollywood and around the world, where the camera's set up to be working with a humongous amount of different people. So if I have one video output out of a camera, that's really going to be limiting on a big cinema set, a big Hollywood set. So I'm not going to call that a cinema camera. So the FX3, despite everyone calling it a cinema camera, despite Sony putting it in their cinema line of cameras, I do not call that a cinema camera because it's one HDMI output. A camera like this one, absolutely fantastic levels of image quality. And I look fantastic, as you might imagine. We've got a Black Pro mist filter on the front here. So we're looking a little bit more filmic, maybe is the right word there.
Does DJI have anything at this show that you would consider a cinema camera?
Yes. So here we are with DJI's cinema camera. So this is the Ronin 4D. It's special because it makes
a little bit bigger
than that one.
Makes a little Pocket 3 look quite small, but obviously we're talking about this being a full-frame 8K camera with interchangeable lenses and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that makes it a cinema camera for me is actually here at the back end. So I've got a big old battery back here, and I have multiple video outputs. So I have obviously the potential to use the DJI wireless system and all that stuff for video transmission. But again, the big thing for me is I can put this onto a much bigger set. I can use this thing in environments that just aren't possible to be, for a smaller camera like a little Pocket 3 to be used in, because again, I have the capabilities to send video to the director. I have an opportunity to send video out to the focus puller. I have options to work with bigger crews and bigger sets that just are not possible with smaller cameras that don't have those kind of outputs and that kind of control. So for me to go for something being a cinema camera, it has to have some of these features that make it work with these big crews and these big teams. That doesn't make another camera worse. It doesn't make the Panasonic we're filming with today any worse camera than it is, because it's absolutely fantastic, but it doesn't make it a cinema camera by itself.
Now, it may surprise some of you, but the next cinema camera I really wanted to check out was by GoPro. GoPro just announced their new Mission 1 series line, and one version of it, the Mission 1 Pro ILS, actually takes Micro Four Third lenses. GoPro considers this their first ever mirrorless cinema camera.
When we went to design the new Mission 1 series, we wanted to solve a solution for the users who were trying to use our Hero Black action cameras in all these different ways. For that product, we have one set of our users who really want it to be a true action camera. They want it to be as light as possible. They want it to be able to easily be mounted on your body, kind of melt away, and really be more about a passive capture experience. They want their hands free. They want to be able to do their activity and go have fun and not have to think about capturing it. But then we had other clients who were coming to us and asking, hey, I want to use this on a major motion picture. And I really want to pull this product more in a professional direction and get even more capability out of it. I'm looking for longer run times. I'm looking for better image sensors. I want better low light. I want more dynamic range. So when we designed the Mission 1 series, we really wanted to serve that segment of customers, those content creators, those commercial filmmakers, and even the fully professional filmmaking community with a product that didn't have any technical limitations. So that series has a 1-inch sensor at all of their core, from Mission 1, Mission 1 Pro, and Mission 1 Pro ILS. That's a 50 megapixel sensor, so a huge jump for GoPro, not only just in sensor size, but in resolution. We can do 8K 30 open gate, 4K 30, 60, and 120 open gate. using a quad Bayer sensor mode that bends down to 12 megapixels with incredible low light. We've got a new processor, so our run times are incredible. We can drive extremely high frame rates. It's a product series that doesn't have the technical limitations for those professionals, those content creators, and those real, commercial filmmakers who are looking for a really specific shot or have a really specific vision and are a lot more about chasing that story and chasing that vision rather than passively capturing. So that's why we decided to create the Mission 1 series. And the thing that I love about it the most is that it's still a GoPro ultimately. It still has that DNA. You can still use it as an action camera if you're looking for the world's greatest action camera, or if you're more of a pro, it can serve the needs that you have.
Getting to see it in person has me even more excited about the Pro ILS version. I mainly use manual focus lenses anyway, so the fact that it does not have autofocus would not be a deal breaker for me. And the Micro Four Third lens mount paired with this 1-inch sensor gives it basically a 3-time crop factor, which again, I love. Some of you may know I just kind of got into the hobby of filming birds, and so a 50mm turns into roughly 150mm equivalent, which can save me money. And I absolutely love the slow-mo features. It shoots 960 frames per second at 1080p and 240 frames per second at 4K. So GoPro got me excited. I was like, okay, well, are there any cameras at the show that kind of specialize in slow-mo? And so that's what led me to Pixboom, which is more of a slow-mo specialty camera. And so I really wanted to see if they had any higher frame rate options in 4K.
Hi there, this is Ben Galfin. I'm working with Pixboom. We've got here is the Pixboom Spark. This is a super high-speed camera, so you're shooting in slow motion. It can shoot at 1,000 frames per second in 4K, about 1,800 frames per second in 2K. It's got a Super 35 sensor, 13 stops of dynamic range. It's got kind of all your flavors of I/O. You've got your SDI, you've got HDMI, you've got EXT for triggers, sync in for syncing cameras. It's a V-Lock. In the past, super slow motion cameras, high-speed cameras have been kind of gate-kept. It's either been a little bit too expensive or the quality just wasn't good enough to fit within, the quality of cameras that we're working with today. So this is a great companion to whatever production and really kind of opens the world to basically good quality slow motion.
So I spent a little bit more time than I probably should have at Red in Nikon's booth. I thought they had a really nice setup. I've never used Red cameras before, so it was really nice that they had all their cameras there with their basketball setup, so you can test them out. And I was watching those guys for a while shoot, and they never missed. Because, at first I was like, man, I could take these guys in basketball. And I was watching them, and I was like, man, they haven't missed a shot yet. But anyway, I couldn't get an interview with Red, unfortunately, but since Nikon and Red did collab on the ZR, and they do consider the ZR a cinema camera, I took some time to learn a little bit more about it.
Here at NAB, we're showing a couple great things. So first off, as you know, Nikon and Red are now together. So one of the things that really is going to take you next level is your color. And that is one of the things that really separates the amateur from the professional. So I think, as we know, Red is really renowned for their color science, Nikon for their lenses. Together, we have a camera like the new Nikon ZR, okay? This camera is going to have R3D NE, Red Code RAW, internal RAW built in at 6K 60. Also NRAW and ProRes RAW. These RAW codecs are going to give you complete control of color, unlike anything else you can see. Latitude is fantastic for color grading. Additionally, you're going to have a lot of different audio. So this has 32-bit float audio built directly in. Nothing else has that right now. Also, the lenses. You're going to be able to have, the most beautiful prime lenses, super telephotos, all that you can put on. So you're going to be able to give a real look to your video from super wide angle, super telephoto, really shallow depth of field, a beautiful rack focus. You can do all that with the lenses.
Can I tell you guys something? Don't tell nobody. I'm just telling you guys. It was a little overwhelming being at the show. there were, I think, over 1,100 companies there. So finding all the different booths, it was like a maze sometimes. They did give you a map, but sometimes, for me at least, it was still hard to find the booths. Scheduling interviews, because some companies you had to schedule interviews. It all added to some more challenges to be able to film as many companies as I could, because there were a lot more companies I wanted to talk to, like Blackmagic. And they also had a nice setup as well. I did spend a little bit of time at their booth, and they walked me through some of their cameras.
Hi, I'm Sarah with Blackmagic Design here at NAB 2026. And the question that's been asked is, what is it at Blackmagic that can take you from the enthusiast level up to the professional level in terms of your cinematography, your filmmaking? So Blackmagic Design has a wide range of products, and we actually fit into the enthusiast level down to something like a pocket cinema camera 4K or the Cinema Camera 6K. So we're currently looking at the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K, and I had mentioned the the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. We also have a Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro that would sit sort of between these two. That Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro has built-in ND filters and other cinema style features. But then when we look at the Cinema Camera 6K, that's when we're getting into, we have an L-mount lens on this one. And it also, currently in beta, has the ability to autofocus with the L-mount lenses, which also bridges that gap between the enthusiast and the professional cinematographer. We go all the way up to, say, our Ursa Cine 17K or our new Ursa Cine 12K 100 gig camera. And everything in between. So you can start with any camera out in the world and make your way into the Blackmagic line. And the workflow is going to be very, very similar as you work your way up in your cinematography career.
I've owned and used a lot of Blackmagic cameras. I think the only ones I have, or the only one, maybe it's two, but I definitely didn't use the 17K camera yet. But I'm pretty familiar with Blackmagic cameras, and I do really like them. But I was trying to use this show to get my hands on cameras that I don't ever really get the opportunity to see, like the Fuji Xterna 55.
So when you're stepping up from a hybrid style camera and moving into something like the GFX Xterna 55, some of the changes that you're going to see, of course, is in enhanced menu systems. We also have industry standard connectors. We also include a G to PL mount with this camera to allow for a wide variety of cinema optics. We include an industry style top handle that has a lot of 1/4-20 and 3/8/16 holes for mounting accessories. But the main thing that you're going to get with this, of course, is really the industry connectors. So we move from just an HDMI, a standard size HDMI, to include full SDI. The camera also includes a BNC timecode port, Genlock. We still include the remote port, which we're used to on most of our hybrid style cameras, but in this case we could also include a full-size Ethernet port, a full-size LEMO DC in port, as well as a 12 or a lens connector for our broadcast optics that we have. So included with this camera, as opposed to say the GFX 102, there's an OLPF system that's built into the sensor, and that helps with softening the image for cinema. In addition to that, we have a variable ND. So the ND starts at 0.6 and moves all the way up to 2.1, so that's 2 to 7 stops. And it moves in 0.015 ND steps. Yeah. So depending upon the recording mode, in the current mode we're in, which is, well, actually someone's left it in 8K, but we can switch it over to the open gate mode. So if we go back to open gate, the max FPS that you can get in there is 48. If we go down to 4K 16:9, which still uses the full width of the sensor, we go down all the way to, we can go up to 59.94. And then if you crop down into a full HD modes, you can get up to 120 FPS. And again, depending upon the other formats, you'll be able to change that and get to different frame rates depending upon what that is. Yep. And so also with the design of Eterna, we wanted to include the ability for both the operator side and the assistant to be able to enter the menus. They mirror each other, so when you're working in one, the other will see it as well. And that just helps communicate between between crews on what's being changed. We have all of the main big 6 buttons on the top. We've got your frames per second, ISO, shutter angle, and white balance, but we also include a separate menu for us to control the color of the camera, and of course turning on and controlling the variable ND. So the 32-90, it's a T3.5. This lens was built to marry specifically for a Eterna 55. It's native G mount, which means it can't be adapted for PL, but it's built to go onto the native G mount of this camera. It is a fly-by-wire system, meaning that it has a servo zoom, servo focus, and iris. I can control that via the control knobs that are built onto the camera. I can control focus, iris, or zoom from either one of these independently of each other. In addition, you can control the variable ND via these knobs as well. So what's great is that you can set it to control focus up here and zoom down here, or iris on one of these and zoom, depending upon how you want to work, how your workflow goes. The other cool thing is that the lens, once you're in servo mode, you can control zoom via the zoom rocker here, or the top handle, and there's also a zoom rocker up here as well.
So I did a little Google search and I was trying to figure out how many people were at NAB this year, and it said it was 58,000 attendees, they estimate. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but that's what I found when I did a few Google searches. And that's why it was kind of hard to get interviews with every single company. And so I tried to get an interview with Zcam. I kept coming back to their booth, but they were really busy helping people learn more about their cameras or doing interviews with other content creators. So I couldn't get an interview with them, but I at least wanted to show you the 3 cameras that they had on display. So we're going to go in order here. And first up, we have the E2 M4 Mark II. This one's built around a Micro Four Thirds sensor, and it'll shoot 4K up to 160 frames per second. Then we have the E2 S6 Mark II, which has a Super 35 sensor and can shoot 4K at 120 frames per second and 6K up to 60 frames per second. And then we have the flagship, the E2 F6 Mark II, which has a full frame sensor and can shoot 4K at 120 frames per second and 6K up to 60 frames per second. And one of the reps told me that this has 15 stops of dynamic range. Zcam also announced a 4th camera at the show, which was the E2N Mark II, and this one's built specifically for live streaming and broadcast. So I think every booth had a lot of interest from filmmakers, but there was something about Kinefinity's booth. I kept walking by, it was always packed, and even people said, hey, did you go to Kinefinity's booth yet? And I was like, I've been trying. And so I made sure, I may have went back maybe like 10 times, and I finally got an interview with one of their reps. His name is Sean, he's a filmmaker. And I wanted to ask him about the new Vista and a little bit about him as well.
When I used to start with mirrorless cameras, I did get to a point where I felt like the camera itself was not allowing me to do everything I wanted, right? And so I found the limitations of that camera. So I think what makes this camera unique is that its size is so small, it weighs only 620 grams. But you're not limiting yourself by certain things. Right?
Okay, and so what is this camera? Yeah.
So this is the Kinefinity Vista. This is our brand new cinema camera. So it's a 3x2 full frame sensor, and it has a large 4-inch OLED screen. So the nice thing about this screen is this camera shoots an open gate, and you'll actually have the complete height of an open gate on the OLED screen itself. Whereas sometimes you shoot open gate, you get this letterbox mode too. So just having the height of the sensor, it's also touchscreen. It's big enough. Today's my birthday. I turned 41.
Okay, congrats.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
My eyes are not what they used to be.
Mine's
so
either.
I find that on small screens, I have to look close, but it's too close. I can pull focus comfortably on this screen. So we kind of wanted to make basically a personal cinema camera that you can walk around with. So this is our Vista camera. So this is the Kinefinity Vista. This is our full frame 3x2 sensor that also shoots an open gate. On the side here, you'll see the CFast Express B card slot. But if you don't have it, so right now there's not a card in there, but it has 240 gigabytes of internal storage. So you can shoot to the camera even if you forgot your CFast Express card. Down here we have two full-size HDMI ports. One is being used right now that's going into this monitor. You can go into an EVF. You can go into wireless video. On the side here we have above we have a headphone jack. We have a 2-pin DC LEMO, which is sitting out right now, so we can run this camera all day off a V-mount. And then underneath that, you probably can't see it, but there's a 3.5-inch jack, which is for microphones, and you can also jam timecode or sync timecode with a Tentacle Sync or something equivalent. Move the camera over to the side here. We'll show off the 4-inch OLED screen. This is also touchscreen. It's 800 nits, and it's a 6x5 OLED screen, which means in open gate mode, you can see the entire height of the open gate of the sensor. Color science is the biggest draw to this camera company. Their color science is so close to ARRI that I just tell my colorists to treat it like ARRI footage. You can, A cam, B cam, you can have an ARRI Min-LF, and then you can have a Kinefinity camera. And I've had colorists say they actually can't tell the difference between the ARRI and the Kinefinity color science. And so the color science to me is most important. Every camera company has their own types of color sciences, and they have gotten a lot better, but I felt that I was spending a lot of time in the color grade trying to get the skin tones where I wanted them. And when I started using these cameras, I wasn't doing all that work. So 2 custom function buttons, 1 and 2, and then we have a third one on the front of the body, or the back of the body here. These will be for if you want to do zoom, a magnification function, if you want to do false color or focus peaking. Those will be options that we can add later on. We've also got a menu button here. We've got a joystick. We've got a wheel that you can scroll through the menu system with. It's also touch sensitive as well.
Can you record via USB-C?
You can go out. So this side is so we have 2 USB-C ports. One is this is for firmware. This also can be sent out to a monitor. And you can go out to an SSD. We don't recommend it at this time because we don't have a full cage for it that has a locking system.
Okay.
Condor Blue, we're in talks with them to do a cage system that once they have that and it's locked, then we'll feel better about saying you can go out to an SSD and do it that way. I'd hate for somebody to be recording and this gets pulled out and you lose, the clip is corrupted. But it is a possibility.
So tell me, which 2 cameras, if you could only choose 2 to test out, what would be the first 2? For me, the first one was the easy choice because I was just really excited about it. It's the GoPro Mission 1 Pro ILS, and the slow-mo features, the crop. Like I said, I was really excited about the crop because I can save a lot of money on lenses, getting more reach, which what I need right now with filming birds. And then the second one was a little bit harder of a choice. There were just so many good cameras. Even cameras I didn't even get to show in this video. But I would have to say I would go with the Fuji Externa 55. Mainly because I've been wanting to play with Fuji's color science for a while now. And also, I really want, sometimes for some of the outdoor shoots I'm doing, I would really love to have built-in ND filters. So those are my 2 picks. Thanks again to DZL Film for allowing me to borrow their lenses from their Simera-C line. There's a link in the description if you want to check them out. And thank you so much for watching. God bless.
We held on tight, but it felt so long. Tell me, where did we go wrong? When you're in the sun and I'm lost in the shade, who's supposed to lead the way? The home that you built, sweetness in my veins, could survive on what we held on tight, but it felt so long. Tell me, where did we go